It's time to talk Cincinnati Bengals football. And to do that, we bring on Crissy Froyd. She is our NFL insider, Bengals insider, and we're going to talk about how hot it's getting in the 513 as the Bengals training camp well underway. Crissy, we look at these young defensive backs, what they've been able to do there this offseason. How critical is that position, and what's happening so far that we're hearing from camp?
Yeah, well, I think it's huge. I think that it's like we mentioned last time, it's a position that the Bengals knew that they needed to go heavy on when they went into the 2022 NFL draft. So I think that whenever we look at this position, they went and they grabbed a lot of different guys, obviously. Dax Hill in round one, Cam Taylor-Britt in round two, and then Tyson Anderson in the fifth round. And so there was a lot of praise for that from within the team, as safety Michael Thomas was one of the guys who kind of spoke up and basically said, good job for doing that. And I think there's a reason why. And so both of those rookies, the top two that were drafted, they've done a lot of things early on in their careers. They've made a lot of progress early on in their college career. And I think that specifically looking at Hill, there's a lot of versatility and upside, which makes him really a plug and play player that should make a big impact this year. And then based off of everything that's coming out of camp, I think that he's done a really good job so far. I know that Von Bell has kind of taken him under his wing too.
Now, Crissy, when you look at this, and the Bengals clearly needed to address this in the offseason coming off the Super Bowl loss, and they did. Is it enough, though? Do you expect an instant fix for them?
Well, I think that Hill is going to be a big playmaker from the beginning. The question kind of lies in how the other guys rise to the occasion. I think that they've shown the ability to put up a lot of really good things in college, but it's a matter of taking that rookie leap and if they can translate in that first year. So there's a chance that it takes a little bit of time, but I think the floor here is still a major upgrade.
One of the other issues, Crissy, that the Bengals really need to address coming off of last season was, of course, the offensive line. They did a lot of work there, specifically at left guard. Talk to us about what's going on there. Is that situation solidifying? Do the Bengals feel good about it?
Yeah, that was the only position within the offensive line that the Bengals headed into camp not having a sure starter at. But I do think this is Jackson Carman's job to lose. The offensive coordinator, Brian Callahan, has already said that he has the edge over Cordell Volson. So I think that that's something that's going to remain true unless something just kind of goes just different in camp than what's being expected. But I think that it's going to be his job to lose. And I think that just moving forward, that's going to become more solidified.
Well, what about on the other side at right tackle specifically? Lyle Collins comes over from the Cowboys. A lot of folks excited about that addition. He's not been able to play. He starts with an injury on the PUP list. It sounds like the Bengals feel pretty good. He's going to be set by the time the season rolls around, but any big concerns there?
I would say that as long as he's healthy in time for the season, that I don't think there's a reason for concern. And I think that, like you said, he is one of the most exciting additions, and him being healthy and ready to go is going to have a lot to do with where this team can go offensively and just protecting Joe Burrow, because offensive line has consistently been an issue while getting a little bit better for the Bengals over the past recent seasons.
Crissy, when you look at what the Bengals did with the offensive line, the names we just talked about, how much of an impact do you think this will really have? I think Bengals fans overall are very excited about it. They think they've addressed it well enough to make this team better than it was last year. What's your view on that?
Yeah, I think it's huge. Like I've said before, I think that this offense has really all the firepower and everything that it needs to be really successful. Looking on the defensive side of the ball, I think that they're up to par too. And so I think this is a team that has the chance to be really, really good consistently year in and year out. But the only thing that's been missing is consistently good offensive line play. And I think that with all these new additions that they really just took this seriously, and they've done everything right. And that if it does pan out, then the Bengals are just a force to be reckoned with really from here on out.
All right. One question, too, a little wild card question for you here. Jesse Bates, what does that look like? Is that going to be something that this team is able to resolve, or do you think that's headed to an ugly end?
Yeah, I think there's a chance that it could be, just based on what the Bengals have done at the position and the way that those talks have gone. So I think that remains to be seen, but that's definitely in the cards, I think.
So, Crissy, it's something that fans don't always talk about, but it's an important part of the game, which is special teams. Heading into camp, the Bengals at punter, at long snapper, are they looking to improve in that area? What's the story there? Could they make a change, or do you think they're set?
Yeah, I think that they've made some off-season additions, but I think the narrative there's a competition at long snapper or punter just isn't true. I think that they've added some guys to get younger down the line, but right now I think that everything's okay, and you have to kind of take the approach of if it's not broken, then why would you fix it? So I think that over time, I mean, they have to be prepared to replace those guys, but I don't think that it happens this season at all.
And Crissy, before we go, one of the things, Joe Burrow, appendectomy, and of course that happens every day, not usually any complications with it. Is there any timetable for him to return based on what we know about that surgery? It's not that big of a deal. They do it laparoscopically now. Any expectation on his return?
Yeah, I think it's a very short time frame. I don't think that's going to affect anything at all. And it's really nothing for anybody to be concerned about. I think that's kind of been what's been coming out of camp too. It's a very simple procedure that's not going to make a really big difference as far as return time goes.